minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You know, none of us want to get old, right? We don't want to grow old. And yet, we admire that wise, older person in the movies, right?
Yeah.
The guy who sits down and says, come here, grasshopper, or something like that. Come here, grasshopper. Right. Let me tell you a story. And it's always what he does, right? He said, here's the lesson you need to know, and here's the story that supports what I'm about to tell you. It's probably as old as mankind is itself, whatever we call ourselves. Paul Smith is on the phone. He's an expert on using stories to help us understand how to move forward, especially from a parent's point of view. Leadership and storytelling techniques are apparently something he's been very good at for a long time. He's the director of market research as well at Procter & Gamble. I wonder if he uses that in there.
Yeah, that's
in fact,
cool.
I was just thinking about this morning when I was brushing my teeth. He's a lecturer in the MBA programs at Xavier University and the University of Cincinnati. He was featured in the Wall Street Journal, Time, Forbes magazine, the Washington Post, Success magazine, and his book is called Parenting with a Story, Real Life Lessons. There's over 100 of them, if I remember.
Yeah.
Real life lessons in character from parents and children to share. I love the way this book is laid out. Paul Smith, good morning, Paul.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Where are you?
You're reaching me in a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio called Mason.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for being on the air in Mason, Ohio. How is it in Mason right now? Cold?
It's a little cold, but it's not bad. I hear up further north it's snowy, so at least I don't have that to contend with yet.
Just the Chamber of Commerce told me to say this. We've got it beautiful down here. If you want to come on down.
I'm certain that it is.
Let me tell you a story about that. No, I'm teasing. I don't have a story. But that's kind of the gist of this, isn't it? That if I wanted to teach, let's say I'm talking to my son when he was little. He's 28 now. But let's say I was talking to even now I might teach. Do you know what my dad does? Let me turn it around. Let me do it with my dad to me. I can remember when I got fired from a job one time. My dad sat down and he told me the story of when he got fired. And I had never heard it. And I don't know, it just kind of helped a little bit.
Exactly. In fact, I think we all know instinctively as a parent that the best way to teach our kids is not just barking orders at them or wagging our finger at them and telling them what to do or what to think. It's telling them a real story about something like this that happened to us where we made a mistake or did something great, and then we suffer or enjoy the consequences. The problem with, and I totally agree with you that we all know there's a few people that have that grasshopper story, and they've got dozens and dozens of great stories, but most of us are not like that. Most of us, I think, have one or two or three really fabulous life stories that can teach great lessons to kids. But that's the problem, is that's not nearly enough. You need dozens or hundreds of such stories at your disposal to really parent a kid all the way through. And so that's why I wrote the book. I wanted to interview 100 people around the world and get 100 different stories like that, because I certainly don't have enough of those myself, and I'm not that grasshopper guy either, but now, now I do.
What question did you ask that kind of got the ball rolling for the folks to answer in the way that they did, so that you could put the book together?
Yeah, I'll tell you the best one, because it certainly was not tell me your best stories.
Yeah.
I tried that, and it totally failed. It never delivered a good story. And the reason is because most people don't think of the best, most meaningful moments in their life as stories. They think of them as moments in their life. So the questions that really turned out to deliver these stories are things like, tell me about a time in your life when you learned an important but completely unexpected lesson, or what's the biggest mistake you've ever made and why, or what are your biggest regrets in life? Things like that get at those pivotal moments where you had some angst but ended up learning a fabulous lesson.
And did you must have one yourself, so if I were to turn it, is your story in the book?
Yeah, there's one or two of mine amongst 100 others from other folks, yeah. So
did you find them through the internet? Did you knock on doors? How did you do this?
So I call people on the phone, and there's a few of them that actually live near me, but most of these are people all over the world. I think I ended up with folks from 20 different countries around the world, and they're people that I'd either run across in life, or friends of friends, or colleagues, or somebody said, if you're writing a book on stories, you got to talk to this guy or this gal, and so they'd connect me that way, and through that you end up with 100 interesting people.
Did each person, when they had to recall something like that and then they told you, do you think it might have affected themselves more because they might have been thinking to themselves, gosh, I don't do that anymore, this is something I should pay attention to, and then they learned from their own story that they had forgotten?
Yeah, good question.
Absolutely. And in fact, the most common reaction I got after these interviews was they felt like they needed to pay me as a therapist. This is
really?
the best therapy I've had in years is digging up these things in my life where I've made these awful mistakes or done something great and I've learned from it. Yeah, it's very therapeutic to go through this kind of a discussion.
Do you know, yesterday was a day of stories because every time we had a veteran that we were talking to, there was some kind of a story that came from his or her service in the military.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I'm sure that the lesson that they learned was shared with anybody who heard the story.
I'm quite sure that's the case.
And you know, this is not so unusual. I mean, the Bible is filled with stories that we are supposed to learn from. I think sometimes, boy, and please don't get mad at me, anybody, but I think sometimes hearing contemporary stories might be more relatable than sometimes these ancient stories, you know, even though the lesson might be the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and that's exactly, you know, why I wrote the book. I wanted to get new, original stories of real life things that happen to real people, as opposed to, you know, older things that, you know, you're not really so sure about. So
I like the story about the young gymnast that you said really reflects grit.
Yeah. I think she ended up having to try over 1,000 times to learn this one 3-second move in gymnastics. And I just thought that was amazing. And apparently that's what it takes for everybody. She's not a slow learner. But it just, the lesson I think you learn from that is how important it is to have grit and perseverance and continue to try things until you finally get it. And that just served her well throughout her life and all kinds of other things that she's been through, that persistence to continue to practice until she perfects something. So, yeah, so that's one in the chapter on grit, but there's 22 other chapters on other character traits as well.
And any one story that you can share with us that sticks out for you or that was very profound and maybe even affected you?
Yeah, well, you asked about my own personal one. So I think when I was 17 years old, I got a job. My dad got me a job at the same company he worked at, filing papers or sweeping the floor or something. And then this was back in 1986. And the next Secretary's Day that came around, I know we don't call it that anymore, but that's what it was back then, I got a free lunch because my boss took me to lunch because I was the secretary. And my dad was there with his secretary, and the waitress came around to take the orders. And they only had two things on the order menu, a quiche Lorraine and a club sandwich. And that book, Real Men Don't Eat Quiche, had just come out a couple years earlier. So none of the men were eating the quiche. They were all ordering the club sandwich, and most of the women were getting the quiche. And so, of course, I ordered the club sandwich very quickly. But when it came time for my dad to order, he said, well, I've never had a quiche. So how about you give me half a club sandwich and a half a quiche? That way, if I don't like the quiche, I still got my half a club sandwich. And the men at the table just pounced on him with all kinds of epithets and challenging his masculinity in all kinds of very creative ways, as you can imagine. Well, I was mortified, of course, but after 3 minutes of that, he called the waitress back over, and I thought, oh, thank goodness. They finally beat him down, and he said, hey, I'm sorry. I've got to change my order. I ordered a half a club sandwich and a half a quiche. I need you to take back that half a club sandwich, and I want you to bring me the whole quiche.
Good for him.
That just taught me a real lesson about what it means to be a man or to be an adult. It's just not caring what other people think about you. And he could have told me that, right? He could have said, "Don't be worried by what other people think of you." But that happening and that story that I tell my kids now teaches them so much more about what it means to
Excellent.
be an adult.
Wonderful story. I have a copy of the book, Parenting with a Story. Paul Smith is the author. You can have the copy that Paul sent us if you call me right now at 622-9622. And Paul, how did the rest of us go by this book? Do you have a website?
Yeah, so I think, today's publication day, so it should be in bookstores near you, but it's online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can find me at leadwithastory.com. If all else fails, I can get you one directly.
Okay, Lead with a Story is the book. Parenting with a Story is the book. Leadwithastory.com is the website, and Paul Smith is the author. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
And I'll give the book away real quick. We might have to go to the break. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
This is Grady.
Grady, you've got the book. It'll be waiting for you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Paul. We'll be right back.
Weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today and pleasant this afternoon with a high of 76 to 80. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows ranging from 52 in a few inland spots to 58 along the coast. For tomorrow, times of clouds and sun, the high 76 to 80. On Friday, times of clouds and sun and noticeably cooler with highs ranging from the upper 60s in the north to about 75 in the south. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need
too.
my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com, Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge, undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services, when your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements. From damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Nothing comes close to honey baked. For starters, every honey baked ham is fully cooked and ready to serve, and underneath that sweet, crunchy glaze is the leanest, most flavorful, moist, and tender ham you'll find anywhere. Add a luscious turkey breast, pot roast, or baby back ribs with our delicious casserole dishes and desserts, and voila, dinner is served. Call us now to place your order at 861-0011. That's 861-0011. Place your order today and grab one of Honey Baked Ham's scrumptious sandwiches to go or dine in.
Real estate is the largest and most personal investment that any of us will make. Tuesday, November 11th at 10 a.m., Bob Kennedy, broker and owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Home Team Realty, will be answering your questions and discussing short sales and bank-owned homes. So tune in at 10 Tuesday and call 622-9622 with your questions. It pays to be an informed buyer or seller. This is news you can use from Home Team Realty and WOCA. The men and women of our military have dedicated themselves to the service of our country. The Voice of South Marion encourages each of us to honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty and salute those who serve today. These heroes and their families deserve our respect and thanks. So from the staff and management of the Voice of South Marion, thank you. We appreciate you and your sacrifices. We all know the importance of good health, but we may not know the latest advances in medicine that are available to us. Monday at 9 a.m., Bern Paraiso will be our roving medical reporter to tell us about Seven Hill Gastroenterology PA and Dr. Reddy. We'll discuss screening, techniques, and more. So tune in and listen. This is more than news you can use. It's news that could save your life. That's Monday at 9:05 a.m.
With a graduate degree in management and leadership from Webster University, there'll never be a better time for you to explore what's next in your career. Classes are scheduled so you can continue your normal workday routine, and the accelerated program means a new term starts about every 10 weeks. If you're looking to gain a broad general management and leadership perspective, then Webster University's Management and Leadership degree program is the right one for you. It's all a part of what's next at Webster University.
Go to webster.edu/manage, accredited by ACBSP.
Check this out.
New shows? Check. Check. Some new talent? Check. The same great sports talk?
I'm seeing it right now.
Wrong.
Wrong again? Wrong.
It's better.
There are so many great things going on in sports.
We gotta get it. From our mics.
Test.
To your ears.
The latest update we got is...
awesome.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today and pleasant this afternoon with a high of 76 to 80. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows ranging from 52 in a few inland spots to 58 along the coast. For tomorrow, times of clouds and sun, the high 76 to 80. On Friday, times of clouds and sun and noticeably cooler with highs ranging from the upper 60s in the north to about 75 in the south. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, thank you, Joe. 21 minutes after 11 o'clock. I was watching this piece on a YouTube video, Robin. It was this guy who had sued his city or his utilities because they were charging him for garbage pickup. And he says, I don't have any garbage. I don't produce any garbage. Everything he bought, he had a cloth bag that he would go to the grocery store with. He would only buy produce. He didn't buy anything in a can, anything in a box. And he was like, he perfectly recycled everything. He never, and what do you call that when you put it in the garden? Mulch or?
Yeah, compost.
Compost, yeah, he would do that. And so anyway, not the issue of his lawsuit is what I wanted to talk about, but the fact that a guy could actually, he figured out a way to have no garbage, which is amazing, because I can put a bag in my trash can in the morning, and it'll be filled by noon.
Me too.
I don't know how that happens. And you know, when we used to drive back, I don't know if they still do it, but you used to drive by the landfill, and they'd have that stack, that pipe with the flame coming out of it. Obviously, there's fuel being made with that. Sharon H. Knies is on the phone. I hope I'm saying her name correct. She's the president and CEO of the National Waste and Recycling Association. She's going to tell us what becomes of the trash that we throw away and how this affects all of us. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Washington, D.C.
All right. So is this legislative stuff we're talking about?
This is the great stuff the industry is doing.
Huh. And the industry is who? Like the solid waste people, or?
Right. It's a privately held industry that handles waste and recycling.
Technology has changed everything that we do in radio. Has it changed what the solid waste people do?
Yes, it has. Technology has been a great benefit for this industry, both on the recycling side and on the landfill side.
In what way?
Well, for example, on the recycling side, we now have single-stream recycling, which makes it more convenient and more accessible. You can put everything in one bin, all your recyclables in one bin, and it gets sorted at the facility.
Right. Yeah, I do that at my place too. I try.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, but it used to be you had to put the plastics in one, the cardboard in the other. Now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the facility has separation technology, which is, for me, a lot of fun to watch, but it's also very efficient.
Oh, wow. I would love to see that myself. I didn't realize we could do that. So
we'd love to get you out to one of those facilities.
Well, I'm sure I could go to one. I'm sure we have one here. Can I ask you a question? I hope I'm not asking a curveball question, but how long have you done this?
Well, I've addressed recycling issues for many years. I have headed the association for 2.5 years.
Okay, but the many years part of this is what I kind of suspected, and the reason I was asking is because I wanted to ask this. So, have you seen it change a lot? Like would a landfill back 10 years ago or 20 years ago look really different than it does today?
Well, I'll tell you, today's landfills benefit from technological innovations, and they're highly regulated, but also highly engineered. These are landfills that protect against groundwater contamination and minimize emissions and produce natural gas from the decomposition of the products in the landfill. They produce enough natural gas to power and heat probably 2 million homes in this country.
Wow. Wow. And are we heading in that direction? Are we still going to one day see that as, or are we already seeing this?
Oh, yes, we're seeing this. Yes, we're producing enough natural gas today from landfills to power and heat 2 million homes in this country. And several manufacturers use electricity from natural gas from landfills. Companies such as Mars, who make the candy.
Candy bar, okay.
All right, General Motors, NASA, not far from here in Greenbelt, Maryland. Subaru. There are a lot of companies who get their electricity from power that's generated from landfill gas.
How can local communities like ours, hook up to this? Because right now it's still not there, and the electric bills are horrendous.
We have gas extraction in about 650 landfills today, and then that goes to the power grid to produce electricity. And there's an opportunity for about 440 more landfills to start extracting natural gas. And we have landfills that extract natural gas in every state in the country with the exception of Wyoming and Hawaii.
Oh, really? So let's talk about some of the cool things. There was a park bench, or a bus stop bench, I guess is more accurate, and the label on the bench said this bench was made completely out of recycled milk bottles.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's pretty cool stuff, isn't it?
It's very exciting. The innovation that goes into recycling is mind-boggling. Today's pop bottle can be tomorrow's fleece jacket. It is really exciting to see the conversion of the recycled product into what it can become.
We have I think we're not a ticking time bomb, but I mean we're on. I think the landfill here in our county has like a couple more years before it closes. Remember we heard something like that?
Yes.
What's going to happen with that land? I think the land around LaGuardia was closed. Once was a landfill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens?
Once it closes, it'll be monitored for many, many years to ensure that there's no problems. And often it's put into productive use. For example, Mile High Stadium was built on a landfill. There is yes.
Not a Mile High landfill, though.
Well, there you go. We can build a baseball stadium on there after it closes then.
Right.
That would be good.
Fresh Kills, which is a park that's being developed in New York City, was a landfill, and it will now be a park that is many times larger than Central Park. So there's lots of opportunities for reuse for that acreage.
Is that in Staten Island? Is that in Staten Island, That sounds familiar.
Might be.
You're not sure? Okay.
I'm not sure.
So before we run out of time, I want to make sure that our listeners can go to a website if you have one, or read a book if you want to tell us about one. That
would be great.
What direction should we send them?
Begin with the bin.com.
Begin with the bin.
Thebin.com, and that'll tell you all about recycling, what can be recycled, how to recycle smartly, but also looking at the broader waste stream and how it's handled, and the importance of the waste stream.
All right. I wonder how it's going to change in the next 10 years. Are we going to see some even more amazing things?
Well, there's so much innovation right now, and it's an exciting time to be in the industry. I think you'll continue to see developments in all aspects of waste management.
Sharon Knies, thank you so much for being on the air with us. For the listeners, begin with thebin.com, and you'll find out some more information about how your waste is not being wasted. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
That was a great interview, actually.
Yes.
All right, we'll take a little break, and we'll be right back. We will have fun with Joe. I'm sorry, wrong button here. Fun with Joe, and, of course, the weather. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio. Republicans increased their majority in the Senate, picking up an